Yo, what is going on YouTube? Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to How to Cosmic Sky. This is episode 2 and today we're going to be learning how to create an arm fuel crafter so that we can be raking in millions of fuel per day. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build the crafter first, nice and simply, and then I'll give you a run through of how to actually use it because there's a little bit of a technical numbers thing that you need to stick to just to make sure that this crafter doesn't overfill with fuel. But if you get that right, it should just craft infinitely. So what we want to do is we want to find a chunk and we want to start by building pillars like this. Now each of these set of pillars is for a crafter. I'm going to build one crafter today, and if you want you can replicate it 4 more times to fill these. But as you can see, there's a gap here for one crafter, a gap here for 2, 3, 4, and 5 crafters if you so wish. But I'm just going to build one here for today. And then you can duplicate it if you want. So we're going to place chests like so. They're kind of dummy chests so that we can place these hoppers facing that way. And then on top of this, at the top, you want to place your actual crafter. You want to get your hoppers and you want to feed it from the side, from the back, and from the top. I got that first time. GG's me. All right, so from the top, you want to place a hopper from the front, like so. That's where we're going to fuel it from. And then from this direction, we're going to want to place a chest, another hopper, and then a collection chest here that collects iron scraps. Now, this is assuming that your iron is within this chunk. If it's not, then you can place a link chest here and set it to, well, whichever channel has your iron scraps in it. At the back, what we're going to want to do is we want to place a block in between these two hoppers, and then we want to get our dropper and place it facing this hopper. Into the back of this dropper, we place a hopper and then the collection chest for fuel. So this is going to be the crafter's source of fuel. We're then going to want to block it up. So you want to get some glass and then just fill it in like so. You can place one over that hopper. That's fine because the fuel will come in at the front. But you are going to want to leave a gap right here so that the redstone can actually get to the dropper. But you could technically, if you want, kind of fill over. I'm just going to fill around the back and leave a full gap, like so. So the redstone is going to come in right here. And in order to deliver the redstone, we want to place a block like this. And then we can place a redstone on top of this. And when this block activates, it'll activate that dropper to drop one fuel onto that hopper. So then what we're going to want to do is we're going to find the middle of the chunk at this height. So that's 8 in there. And that is 8 in there. So that means the middle of the chunk is these 4 right here. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to build a clock here. Now this is the important part. This is the clock that runs it all. At the back, you want to place a hopper facing into that block. And then a hopper facing back into the same hopper. And then you want to put one block in. And what's going to happen is that block's going to go back and forth. You then want to place blocks on top and blocks next to it. And on top of these, you want to place comparators. And below, you want to place comparators going the other way. So what you can see is it's detecting which hopper the block is actually in. We're then going to want to place 2 more blocks like so. And then redstone torches on top. So you can see this is effectively just detecting which is it in. We're then going to place a block like so, and you can do this by shifting and actually placing a block on top. If you don't shift, it won't place. You'll just interact with a comparator. And then you can place a hopper into this block, break it, and place a hopper facing back in. Now you're going to want to place 7 items in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And that's an important number. And then you're going to want to place glass or some sort of block on top so the blocks can't accidentally drop in here and disrupt the actual timer itself. Then you want to place blocks coming out of this. Then you want to detect the signal, get a repeater to make it a full strength signal, and then grab that with your redstone and connect it to your dropper like so. So what's going to happen, as you can see, is every time this turns on, it's going to output 1 fuel onto that hopper. Now we haven't set up the collection system for these as we don't have the miners, but this is the basic premise of the crafter, pretty much all built and ready to go right now. All we need to do is select the fuel channels and actually place the miners. So let's get right into that. All right, so now that we've got the actual crafter set up and the timer working at the correct time, what we're going to want to do is we're going to set up where we're actually going to get the fuel from and where we're going to get the iron scraps from. So you're going to need 7 fuel nodes for every 60 iron nodes. So that's 60 iron nodes to 7 fuel. And every extra 60 iron nodes, you're going to want another 7 fuel. You can ratio this, and so divide it in and 1 fuel node for every 60 divided by 7 iron nodes. But what we're going to want to do is we're going to place these fuel nodes. I'd like to place them below the bot. You don't really have to. You can place them in whatever pattern you want. I'm going to go for a helicopter pad like so, and I'm going to place the mining bot in the middle. We're going to want to fuel this guy from somewhere, so we're going to place a hopper on top of him. And then we're going to give him a link chest, and that's going to be, well, in this video, iron fuel, but you could fuel him with coal fuel if you wanted. We're then going to want to build the iron mining bot, and so as you saw in my layout before, each iron bot requires 24 for an infinite source, and so we have 2.5 sources here because we have 60 nodes. So to lay these out, you can put them 8 long times 3. 8 times 3 is 24. And you can staircase them like so. I do prefer to staircase my mining bots just because I feel like it's better than hoppers getting filled with the actual iron scraps if you have hoppers underneath the bots. And this staircase pattern effectively just avoids you putting hoppers underneath the bots and make sure the hoppers are just above them. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to place 3 mining bots like so. Unfortunately, it's not symmetrical. I would like it to be so, but given that it's 8 times 3, we can't do symmetry. And you're going to want to place hoppers like so that you can fuel each of them. And then give them a link chest up top to actually fuel them. And effectively, these are the mining bots now set up. We have to give them fuel from somewhere. And so we're going to use iron fuel to fuel them, which means they need to be given the first channel coming out of this crafter. This first channel will get the first pick of the fuel that comes out of that crafter. And then what we're going to do is we're going to place another channel down here for all the spare fuel. So effectively, once this fills up, it'll mean that all the bots are always getting fuel to make more fuel. And then you can output it into this channel here, which could be whatever bots you want on the island. We're also going to have to fuel the crafter. And so if you want the quick fix, as with the coal, you want this channel to be the same as this channel, to be the same as this channel, and to be the same as this channel up here. Luckily, I have exactly 4 blue chests to use, and I only needed 4. And then you could set this channel to be white, which is where you're going to output all of your actual fuel to, rather than refueling the system itself. So if I kickstart this with a bit of iron fuel that I got, oh, it's already filling with a bit of coal that was there from before. All these bots will now mine. Let me place some in there. And effectively what's going to happen is this collection chest is going to collect iron. It's going to go into the side of this crafter. So if I give him iron fuel, this crafter will now craft iron fuel. And in the back here, you'll see this clock will tick 1 item in at the certain amount of time at which it gets the correct amount of items. Now, there's a little bit of backup because we didn't activate the recipe soon enough. But effectively, what's going to happen is every time this guy gets 16 items, he'll get 1 fuel to craft the recipe. All right, so that's the crafter pretty much set up. If you have exactly 60 nodes here and exactly 7 nodes here, this crafter will craft infinitely. So why do we need 60 nodes? And this is kind of the important part, and it's important for, I guess, you guys setting this up on your island that you understand this, because if you don't get this part, then likely you won't get the right number of items per second, and this guy won't get enough iron, and he'll start to fill up with fuel because this iron's not coming through at the right rate. So the important part is this hopper right here. Now we know hoppers can only transfer 2.5 items a second. That's just a characteristic of hoppers. And so if this guy is always being given iron at the right rate, the quickest we can deliver it is 2.5 items a second to this crafter. And so effectively what this timer does is it times the amount of time it would take to transfer 16 items into this crafter at the standard hopper rate. And once it does that, it basically ticks on this dropper and outputs a fuel. And so you get that 60:1 ratio that we want. Now, technically, when you look at the number of items in these, so we put 7 in here, and the 7 items have to go back and forth, right? So 7 items times 2, because it goes back and forth, makes 14. And then in the back, we have 1 item as well. So that makes 15 items. And there's a small bit of a delay between these items transferring and telling this item to transfer. And so what you get is you get a clock that's a 15 and a little bit items, as opposed to the 16 we require. And so effectively what will happen, and you can already see it kind of happening, is very slowly this will fill with fuel. In fact, it will fill approximately 3 stacks of fuel a day. So 64, 64, 64 fuel per day, which means you could probably leave this crafter for about a week and it wouldn't overflow with fuel. But it does very slowly fill with fuel. And it's kind of important to know that so that you can actually clear it out. If you don't have 60 nodes, you can't provide 2.5 items a second to the system. If you had more than 60, that's fine. Because if you supply 4 items a second here, it can only take 2.5 items out a second anyways. And so it's fine to oversupply iron, but if you undersupply iron, it means that this timer will be a lot quicker, because if you're only doing 2 iron a second, and this is calibrated to 2.5 a second, it effectively means that the timer is too quick. So I'd recommend, before setting up this clock, to get 60 iron nodes. If you do have less than 60 iron nodes, you can amend this clock. The way to do it is to find out how many items you get per second. So say I didn't have this miner here, right? Say I just had these 2 miners. That means I'm producing 2 iron every single second. And in order to get 16 iron, that would take 8 seconds. And so what we want to do is we want to make an 8-second clock here. Now in 8 seconds, you can transfer 8 times 2.5 items. And so what you want to do is you want to multiply them and get 16 plus 4 is 20 items. And so you effectively want to half the 20 to get 10 minus 1 and put 9 items in here. It's kind of a little bit complicated, I'm not going to lie, which is why I recommend every 60 nodes you build another crafter, because this gives an exact 2.5 items a second. But you can calibrate it to however many nodes you want, if that's the case. I'll put a little formula on the screen so that depending on the number of nodes, you can calculate the number of items you want in this hopper. But other than that, you're probably just going to have to understand the way rates of movement work with hoppers to actually fully calibrate it. And yeah, that's pretty much the crafter done. It will craft infinitely so long as it's loaded. Being loaded is important. You can see I have this guy just standing here doing nothing, which is loading in this crafter and that crafter over there. But you shouldn't run into any errors with this. Eventually this will fill, as I said, so you'll have to clear it out every 3 or 4 days. One more thing then, just to add to this, if you do want to do this for multiple crafters, you can see this is my main island. So this is the clock we built before, and this is the output signal for iron fuel. And each one of these is a crafter, so you can see the output comes here and it ticks on this dropper. If you want to do for multiple crafters, you can literally just extend this signal to as many crafters as you want. So you can see I've got 10 crafters along here, and I have another 5 crafters here for iron. So that's a total of 15 crafters, all from this one signal. So if you do want to do this for multiple, that's how you do it. But yeah, I forgot to say that earlier in the video, so I thought I'd add that on the end. If you did enjoy the video, please leave a like, subscribe. I do stream over on Twitch if you want to check me out, twitch.tv/EganKnox. But yeah, other than that, I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.